Hello everyone. In today's video we are going to see what are the security services. So it is a processing or communication service which is provided by the system, and this system will give a kind of protection to the system resources. So the security services are why, because see, whenever the data is being transmitted from one end to the other end, there might be many chances of attack in between the conversation of the message or data. So what the security services they'll do is they will make sure that they provide sufficient protection for the message or for the data or for the resources, so through which the data is being transmitted. That means they will implement a few security policies, and these security policies are implemented by the security mechanisms. So combining these security policies and security mechanisms, what they will do is they will make sure that the sender and receiver will receive the same data without any modification. Also, their resources will not be attacked by some other third party member. So this is what security mechanism means, using the security services. Okay, next, confidentiality. So the complete information security is depending upon the CIA CIA triad. We call it as CIA triad. C means confidentiality, I means integrity, A means authentication or authenticity. Okay, whenever you get any question like what is CIA triad or what is CIA or what is the most common principle of the information security used, you should write CIA only: confidentiality, integrity and authenticity. So what is confidentiality means, whenever a data is transmitted from the sender to receiver, only the sender and receiver should know the data what is being transmitted. The other person should not know the data. That means it should not be disclosed to some other third member. For example, if you are sending message to your friend saying something hi, that message should go to only your friend. It should not go to other contacts which are in your phone, right? That is what confidentiality means. Whatever you are saying to someone, that should stays with someone only. It should not go with the third person. Okay, that is what confidentiality means. Here, ensuring the information is accessible only to those authorized to have access. See, your sender and he is receiver. You say, you send hi, you're only sending to this receiver person only, you're not adding any other persons in middle. So only that receiver, this receiver has access to your message, that is a authenticated and authorized access to your message. So only that person will receive, or that person should know the data which you are sending. Or take an example of email. Okay, you are receiving email from your company, means company, what it will do is it will add only your email address to the recipients list, not everyone who are in the organization. So that means that information is confidential. For example, they are sending you a salary statement, that means your salary is confidential. It should known to you and the company organizers. It should not be known to all the members in the organization. That is what confidentiality means. It should not be disclosed to anyone. And example also, you can take credit card number. So whenever you enter a credit card details, so only the last four digits you will be able to see. All the remaining digits will be marked as X. So only last four digits that will be printed on the receipt of the product purchase or anything, or the bill. Okay, next one is authentication. Authentication is like more of like confirmation of the identity. Okay, authentication means confirmation of the identity. That means whatever the message is you are sending, either it is a single message or it is a group of message, so that doesn't matter. What it matters is the recipient, whoever receiving your message should be the one whoever you are sending. That means if you are sending your message to a person but B person is receiving that message, that means this is not authenticated. Authenticated means confirmation of the receiver or confirmation of the user. That means okay, this particular user is the authenticated one. So that is what here authentication means. Okay. And when this authentication will happen, that means at what stages this authentication should happen means during the connection initiation. That means connection initiation means before sending the data you have to initiate the connection between the sender and receiver. So after initiating and initiating the connection between the sender and receiver, only then the data will be transferred. That means we won't be seeing all this connection, how the connection is getting between the sender and receiver. All these things you will not know, because this is something which will be done in the back end. This all will be done by the security services and network security. You will not be knowing what will happen before sending message and after sending message. The general thing what will happen is, see, this is sender and this is receiver, right? So whenever you are sending the message, first what it will take the address of the recipient. So it will not ask for every message your address. So it all happens in the back end. Okay, the server will fetch the details of the recipient address. First it will establish a connection to the receiver, and then the data will be transmitted to the receiver. Once the data is received by the receiver, this connection will be removed. That means okay, data is completely transferred and it has to end now. Now again, whenever receiver want to send this back to the receiver, or sorry, sender, again the connection will be established and the data will be transferred again. So this connection establishing, connection disabling, so all this will be done within a few seconds only. Okay. And this connection between the two hosts should not be interfered by the third party. That means before or after establishing this connection between the sender and receiver, no third party member should be able to interrupt the connection or interrupt and modify the messages. So this is what authentication means. Generally the interruption happens in this way only, but the authentication service will make sure that this kind of things will not happen. Okay. And two specific authentication services are defined in the X800. So these are what we will say is authentication certificates. We will learn about this authentication certificates later. Okay. First one is peer entity authentication and the data origin authentication. So what is this peer entity authentication is, I have explained you before, like how the data will be transferred before the connection. So all these things will be again in these 2 points only. So peer entity authentication means it will verify the identity of the peer entities. That means it will verify the identity of the sender and receivers. Okay, sender will be one, receivers maybe one or many. Okay, that depends upon the use case. Okay, it will verify the identity. That means whatever the receiver you are sending or whatever the receiver receiving the message from the sender, are these two persons are the validated persons, or are these two real ones, or any fake messages are we getting? So these two identities first should be verified. That is called peer entity authentication. And second is data origin authentication. This means, see, when we are sending the data, first I said the connection will be established, right? Then the data will be sending. So when the attack is being about to happen, what happens is first they will verify that the connection is successful or not between sender and receiver. As soon as they get the information that connection has been established, before this data comes from here to here, the attacker or the what we say theft or the any danger threat, all this will be interrupted in between, and they will make sure that this data will not be sent to the receiver. Instead they will send their own data. This is how modification of data happens. So here what this authentication will do is, okay, whatever the data is coming, is that data coming from the sender only, or is it coming from the any other third party member? That will be made sure by this data origin authentication. So see, all these authentications and all these are the primary steps, okay, primary initiatives, but they can't guarantee that this interruption will not happen forever. So these interruptions are something like third party members will do, but the basic requirements that will be given by the security services is this one. Okay, for example, if you are purchasing a product, what they will do is they will give you some warranty card. for 1 year or 5 years, and they'll say that this will not be damaged, okay, in 5 years or something like that. So that doesn't mean the product will be the same as you purchased for these 5 years. Maybe, for example, if you take example of buying a machine, okay, you bought a machine and they said that this machine will be worked for 5 years. So that doesn't mean that machine will compulsory work for 5 years no matter what will happen, okay. They'll just provide you some just authentication, or they'll provide you some assurance, but it will not guarantee that any damage will happen to the machine. For example, for that machine only you have hit that machine so hard and that broke. So what and you can't ask the product owners that this product or machine has been damaged, but you said this machine will be for 5 years. You can't do that because hitting that machine is a third party one. Just like here, the same thing will happen with the data also. They will just give you assurance, like from their side it will not happen. If any third party comes, it will happen. That is what here total authentication means. And integrity. So integrity means the data cannot be modified without the authorization. That means whatever the sender will send, only that data will be sent to the receiver. Whatever the receiver is receiving the message, the data is sent by the sender only. So this is same of like confidentiality, and this will be applied for if it is a single message or it is a group of message. So okay, for integrity we have two types of services, connection oriented and the second one is connection less oriented. So the integrity and authentication and confidentiality, all these three together will make a security service, okay. Make sure that you remember that point. And here connection oriented and the second one is connection less, I said, right? Let's see what is connection oriented and connection less oriented. I will tell this difference by taking an example. Sender, receiver. See, the complete information security will be having this example only, sender and receiver, because the data should be transmitted between the sender and receiver only. So connection oriented means, so here when the data is being sent to sender and receiver, there will be a connection between them. There will be a connection. That means before sending the actual data, they will establish connection like this means, okay, between them. Only then the data will be transmitted. This is what connection oriented. That means only the sender will send the data, only the receivers will receive the data, okay. That is connection oriented. Then what is connection less oriented means, sender, receiver. This is connection oriented and this is connection less oriented. Here no connection will be established between sender and receiver. The sender will just send a large amount of messages, and who are all accessible to this sender port or who are all accessible to receive that message will receive that message automatically. That means there will be no guarantee that only this message will be received by this particular person. Just like let's say broadcast message, okay, sorry, broadcast message. When the sender will send, the sender will not know who are all the recipients. That message will be received by set of recipients who are who are subscribed to that channel, broadcast channel. So just like radio. So this radio is what, it will not select any recipient. That means their whatever they are talking on that radio channel, that will not be received by only one person or only two persons or only some set of persons. So whenever any person change their frequency to that channel frequency, they can listen to their conversation. So we will have, right, 98.1, something like that, 98.3. So that is their channel frequency. So whenever any user just change their frequency to this number, they can listen to the conversation. That is what connectionless means. No connection will be established between the sender and receiver. They can just listen to the messages if they are able to reach the server of the sender. Okay, that is what connectionless and connection oriented means. This is the most important topic also. Okay, thank you.